Okay, welcome everybody. This is a new series of 6 Weeks to Success, and I am looking forward to partnering with many of my director friends, including Jeannie Gerhardt, who's on the phone or on the line with us, and Amber Speck and Shan Fields. And then I know we have a couple other directors that'll be joining us, but not tonight because they have a team meeting, but that'll be Sue Myers and Leslie Rogakis. I'm not sure if I said her name right, and Lisa Locken. So anyway, so all kinds of great directors in the Denver area that are teaming together with our teams for 6 Weeks to Success. And what's really important about 6 Weeks to Success is we have 6 weeks left before the holidays. So this is the time to dig in and make the most success of our business. And of course, that will give us some nice paychecks through the end of the year, but will also help us to build our business to go into the new year, because business now will yield business in the new year. So that's why we're teaming together to present this. And today we have a guest speaker. So I am super excited to have Rebecca join us to talk a little bit about the belief triangle, which is really the basis of pursuing your business. So Amber, do you want to do a minute of introduction, because you know Rebecca better than I, and then we'll turn it over to Rebecca.
Sorry, I have a team member needing the meeting ID. You know, gotta love it. Oh, sorry, just a second. Enter this. And then I will excitedly tell you all about Rebecca. Okay, so I met Rebecca a while ago. Oh, there she is. Pat just made it. Yay. I don't even know how many years ago we met, but we've known each other for quite a while up here in northern Colorado. And she's just been a joy to know. I don't know. We probably first met when she was selling with Leah Sophia. And then she's just been able to do lots of amazing things over the last couple years with helping people in direct sales achieve their goals and grow and stretch. And she came to speak at our team meeting last month, and it was wonderful. And so we've kind of started to collaborate more and work together more recently on just ways to help people overcome obstacles and get through the chaos. And she just has some great programs. So I'm really excited to have her speak tonight, and I'm sure she will inspire and encourage and help you out. So
thank you. Yeah, sure, definitely. So I will share my screen here in a second, but I just wanted to let you guys kind of know where I'm coming from. Like Amber said, I was part of Leah Sophia. So I was a leader in Leah Sophia for almost 8 years, and learned a lot through that process. And I've really dedicated my life now after Leah Sophia to helping people in any kind of a social selling company where they're relying on their networks in order to create their incomes, and help people to really understand how to have bigger and better success and why some people fail to thrive and why others do. And I've really studied that. And so I'm hoping that you can walk away with a little bit of something different today, that maybe you haven't heard it this way before, because there's really no new information, right? We just kind of deliver it in a different way. So I'll go ahead, and I just had prepared just a couple little slides so you don't have to look at my face the whole time. So let me see if it's going to allow me to share my screen. Can you see that?
Huh? I haven't heard that before. Make you sweaty.
Yeah, so I came across this quote recently, and I just absolutely love it. And some people look at that as like, you know, if you love to exercise or something, but to me, immediately I just thought of course, the best things in life are the things that take you out of your comfort zone. So of course, what happens when we get out of our comfort zone, but we begin to have all of this anxiety. And it's just that it's the way that our brain is helping us, because wherever we are from where we need to go, there's always this gap of this unknown risk. Our brain doesn't know how to tell us what we're going to encounter. And sometimes we begin to think about the nightmare, and that can keep us from ever even trying to make it to the other side, because we freak ourselves out and our brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. So when we begin to imagine that all the bad things that could go wrong, as women are so good at, then we tend to not take action at all. And of course, this is where we as leaders can get to, but also a lot of our team is in this place where they have built a nightmare for whatever reason, and they are not allowing themselves to get to the other side. Now, the other side of that is that what's wonderful is if you will just allow yourself to think positively and to imagine something fantastic on the other side, and to play the heroine instead of the failure in your mind, then you can make a huge difference in your life, because you're going to do those things that make you sweaty. You're going to approach those things that make you uncomfortable. And guess what happens when you move out of your comfort zone? You move into that place of where you want to go. You're never going to get to go anywhere other than where you are doing the same thing. We've all heard that, right? You can't do the same thing and expect to get somewhere new. So it all comes down to, when we talk about beliefs, the beliefs are all just figments of what we are making them to be in our mind. So if we just change our mind, then we can change our life, because it is our belief system that is directing our actions. But I'm going to help you to unwind some of that. So it's not that you can't magically change your belief with taking action, because sometimes if you take action but your belief is still the same, then you're not going to have the result that you desire. I imagine a lot of you have either had that experience yourself, or you know somebody who it did, where they were like, I was doing things and it didn't work for me, because the whole time they were sabotaging themselves. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit. And so I really love this picture where it just gives you this imagery of the power of what is going on in our head and how those beliefs come to pass in our life. And so if you think about belief as a seed that grows based on where your focus is. So if your focus is in this abundant mindset, then you are going to have the benefits of the positive thoughts, the gratitude, the love, and the surrender. And the reason why I put surrender on there is because that to me has to do with allowing, because sometimes we don't allow these good things to come to pass in our life, because if we can't get over a limiting belief of what can happen and what's possible, or getting over the belief of something that happened to us in the past that may be limiting us, then we're not allowing it, so we have to get to that place of surrender. So that's why that's on there. And then of course, those limiting beliefs create a total sense of lack. So you're going to hear this a lot from your teammates about, like, I just can't get anyone to book a party with me. Everybody that I know has already done one or can't do one. They have this real sense of lack. And we know that that's not true, because the resources are abundant. It's just a matter of how willing are you to go out there and get it. And then, of course, once people start focusing on complaining and picking everything apart, then that is obviously not going to do any good. And then, of course, those limiting beliefs are huge. And then, of course, when you're in this place where you are not in this abundance because your actions are creating that limiting space for you and that fear, then you're, of course, not going to feel good. And if you don't feel good and you're not feeling excited, happy, motivated, you're not going to do anything either. And that's where that action piece comes in. So this is a formula that I had kind of came up with, just trying to take what I've learned and what I teach. This is kind of straight out of my framework. So we're only going to be, kind of touching on this, but I want to just give this to you as a way to apply this formula to different things in your business and in your life, so that you can kind of go through a process in order to move forward. So the social selling success formula always starts with self-awareness. So when we're thinking about beliefs, whether we're talking about this for ourselves or we're talking about how we're trying to help our team to open up and really expand what they're doing so that they get into action, then we really need to start with self-awareness. We need to ask ourselves those questions of, what is it that I'm really believing? What are those thoughts that are going through my head every time I have set aside to contact somebody or make a call and I don't do it? What is going on? And you really have to ask yourself and get that pen and paper out and become very self-aware of what is going on with you. And it always starts with beginning with the self-awareness. Once you've identified where that belief is, then you can actually do something about it. You can begin to work on it instead of just letting it chase you around. Because when we don't stop and have self-awareness and face it, whether it be, let's take fear, for example. You might be avoiding something that you know that you need to do, and you are avoiding it, but you're not really allowing yourself to know why or to accept the truth of why you're avoiding it. And so therefore, you are letting it chase you around and it's beating you up, but you're not really facing it. The moment that you begin to face it, then that fear begins to dissipate because you're finally facing it and you're becoming aware of it. Now that you're aware of it, you can actually do something about it. So I would like to just ask you guys, if any of you can tell me, what if, is there anything that you can say, whether it be you or people in your team, that you can have awareness of? Because this is true even when it comes to helping your team. You need to first start with having awareness of exactly what is going on. What are these things that they're believing that are keeping them held back? What is that? Oops. I'll turn that back on in a minute. I'm trying to get back to you guys. Where are you? There you are. So what would you guys say? Does anyone have an answer?
I'd say I think you hit the nail on the head. It's just that general fear, and it's the fear of, I think, failure. You know, people are just afraid they're not going to be successful, you know, with the business or the party or whatever. And, you know, and then, you know, there's lots of things that tie into that fear of hearing no, the, you know, fear of, you know, those are the things I think that all people in direct sales have those fears. And, you know, you have to, you know, kind of talk yourself through those to be able to get through it, to be able to move forward and to be actual to do the business.
Absolutely.
Well, I think even, you know, I've gotten to where I almost enjoy hearing no, you know, just to where I'm like, well, I'm good. I can cross you off the sheet. You know, I'm glad I got a response. What I allow myself to grab onto a lot, I feel like, is how many messages am I going to send or how many voicemails am I going to leave with no response ever? You know, and that's the thing that hangs me up sometimes. Where I'm like, it's just going to be another 20 messages that isn't going to result, you know, and yet I know that's not true, because it always does result in something eventually. And even if that hour, you know, that I spend making phone calls or sending text messages, I don't actually book a show that time, I know something will come from it. And, you know, I think my customers do appreciate that I'm making an effort and I'm reaching out or I'm following up like I said I would. But
yeah, and I think this is something that I think is so true. If you think about that, your belief is like a seed. And so when you do things like take the action of making those calls, then you are building and watering that belief. And you're telling yourself, like, I believe in my business and I'm going to do the work and I'm going to have faith that something is going to grow from this, right? And so when we continue to work on faith, even when we don't ever really know how something is going to go. We can kind of predict, maybe if we've had a show with them before, we can kind of predict that it'll go well, but sometimes that's not even a good predictor, because sometimes it can go really bad that second time, right? And so we are feeding our belief through that action by walking in faith with what we know we need to do and what we're in control of. And we are feeding our own belief that we believe in it as we are taking that action. Now, of course, Kristen brought up a really great point about fear. And of course, fear will keep people from inaction and from action. But the more that we hesitate, the more that we deny ourselves to face it and do what we know that we need to do, we of course know that what happens, but it grows. That fear only grows. And so that inaction creates more fuel for the unbelief. And that is where we get ourselves into trouble. So the only way to counteract this really is to have a plan, of course, of action. And then you just have to hold yourself capable to work that plan. And that's really the only thing that's ever going to overcome that, because we're never not going to feel those attacks and the resistance. It's never, ever going to happen. I kept waiting for the time when I just felt like everything was effortless. And part of that is because in our business, we have to wear a lot of hats. And so there's certain parts of our business that we will not at all deny because we love it. But then there's other things in our business that we will put off and put off and put off because it's not really our real powerful zone. And that is true for the people that are on our teams as well. But the action is always going to create some kind of a result. And the biggest result that it creates is it builds that belief in you. You're believing the belief in yourself and in your business. So let me go back here to I'm going to have to go back to this slide. Sorry about that. I did that wrong. Okay. So like I said, you really have to get to that place of having that self-awareness. If we can't be honest with ourselves and compare what is going on inside of us and what we're not doing, and really breaking that down and having awareness about what is really going on with me, what is helping your teammates to discover what is going on, why am I truly afraid, where is that fear coming from, what am I afraid of, and let's make sure that I'm really looking at with truth. Like Kristen was saying, that they have all of these fears, but is that really true, that whatever they're afraid of, is that really going to come to pass? Likely it's not. And we have a choice, just like that tree is showing. We get to choose where we put our focus, and we are going to have these results. We're either going to have that abundance, or the fear is going to take away from us, and it's not going to give us anything ever. And so we have a choice to make. And that's an intentional choice that we can make, and we have to teach our teammates to make that same intentional choice, and that they will not continue to allow themselves to be what we're going to move into next, is that sabotaging. So once we have kind of awareness of how you're feeling, what's going on, what are the common things that you're struggling with, and you kind of are approaching them and dealing with them instead of ignoring them, and then you can really start looking at how and where am I sabotaging myself. So we can be sabotaging ourselves in the thoughts that we think. Like I said, that when that time comes for you've set aside hopefully some time to get on the phone and make some phone calls, to book some shows, or to reach out and message them with however the method is, then you are looking for a way to do that. And immediately your mind starts to want to sabotage you, because that is, I'm not really sure why it happens, but it's part of that hesitation. The moment that you don't just act, you don't get into action, then your mind will start to try to talk you out of it. But it was really interesting because I just went through this training. It was called Epic Success. And in the training, she studied a bunch of brain stuff. And so she talked about that when we first start doing something, our brain doesn't give us those chemicals of serotonin that make us feel good until after we've completed the task. And so it's kind of like, we'll just use exercise, for example, because we all tend to struggle with this. We know that we should. And when we do, it takes so long to convince ourselves to do it. And when we finally do it, in the end, we feel so good. And that serotonin has hit and it feels really good. So then after you've been going for a little while, then that serotonin hit from your brain will come kind of in the middle of it. And so you won't have to wait until the end to feel that motivation. But as you go on, so after about 57 days, she said, after you've been doing something for about 57 days, then your brain will start to do something where it starts to release the serotonin at the beginning when you first start thinking about it. And so you really will get to a point where when you start thinking about, oh, good, it's almost time to go run, you get excited. You're actually excited and happy to go do it. I do that. I've never went running for 57 days, so I do not know how that feels, but I do understand that concept, because at some point when we do something over and over and over, then our brain starts realizing that it is something that it can expect, and it begins to chemically tell our brain things and give us those boosts in our chemicals, so it makes it easier. So that is why you guys as directors have done things long enough. A lot of times you don't feel the same resistance that other people feel, because your brain has already learned that if I make these calls and I book these, get my calendar full, then it's going to be incredible. And so people that haven't experienced that yet and done it long enough and often enough for enough time, they don't have their brain working for them. Their brain is working against them and therefore sabotaging them. But what we can do is we can identify where are we being sabotaged? So if you think about it in thoughts, when you're having those thoughts, when you go to pick up that phone and the fear sets in, what exactly is that conversation that's going on in your head? And begin to write that down so that you can recognize it, have that self-awareness, and now you have captured that self-sabotaging thought. Or maybe it's an activity that you're constantly sabotaging yourself by. Let's say instead of getting to work and making phone calls, you decide to check your Facebook or check your email or do some busy work instead. So you're constantly doing an activity and distracting yourself rather than working on what you've said that you were going to do and know that you want to do. And you know that that's the thing. It's not that you don't know what to do. You're not doing it because you're sabotaging yourself. Or maybe it's an outside source that's constantly sabotaging you. So thinking about Amber and her 4 children, every single time she is intentional about trying to do something and she goes to sit down and do her work or make her meal or whatever it is that she's planned to do. We were talking today about how she went to do Facebook Live with cookies and her son just started screaming like Banshee. And so, things like that happen. But that's another sabotaging thing that you need to be aware of. And so what we need to do is we need to build awareness of where those areas of sabotage are. And then we need to come up with an if-then plan so that when it begins to happen, we already know what we're going to do to handle that. So today, Amber and I talked about maybe when she knows that she's going to be going live, then she needs to do something to make sure her littlest one is secure or her children are separated or she has somebody there to help her so that it doesn't sabotage the whole Facebook Live. And so that is the way we need to begin looking at things. We have that awareness, and then we start to take away the things that are sabotaging us. What is it that is constantly going on, whether it's coming from within us or in our outer world, that we can control? If we try to think about it and make a plan, likely we can take away that sabotage before it ever has a chance to come in and take away our intentions. And so, of course, after you have you've taken care of the self-sabotage, because you can't really move beyond the self-sabotage. So this next step wouldn't even matter if you can't deal with that. But what we often miss and we don't do is we are not putting in the empowerment piece. So this is the part where it looks like, how are you feeling? And have you filled up lately? Because if we are not feeling good about our lives and who we are, and if we're empty, we are not going to be able to show up in a powerful way and really make anything happen. So we really need to make sure that we are not coming and working from a place of emptiness, that we are not approaching our business from a place of emptiness. We are going to be much more effective if we take that time to empower ourselves. And that can also look like when we're talking about beliefs, what is it that you can do to empower your belief system? What can you do to dream build and to have something to look forward to that will get you working? And I don't know about you guys, but I was always really motivated by trips, and winning free travel was so motivating to me. It was just like I would do incredible things when it was time to earn trips because I was very motivated by that, and it empowered me into action. And so thinking about what is it that you need to feel motivated? Do you just need time to work on your business, and that is what's going to empower you, that you literally have not been able to capture time? And so then you need to make sure that you are really prioritizing and committing to the time to work on your business. And then you're going to feel good about it, that you're putting time into it, because you're going to start seeing results. So I don't know what that is for you. So if you guys want to talk about those two areas of sabotage and empowerment, and what kinds of things that you guys do. I did it again. Apparently my thing is very sensitive. I can't see you guys right now. That's why I'm always trying to click back. I'm coming. Where are you?
Well, does anyone have a sabotage example? Thank you, Rebecca, for sharing mine. So I have many more examples I can share, but I'm sure there's others that have a sabotage example that you can possibly capture and make I love Rebecca's if-then plan for how to prevent it from happening next time.
I think where I self-sabotage, can you guys hear me? Yeah, I'm unmuted, is busy work. I get sucked into, Facebook or, whatever, just doing office work, but not the things that matter the most, where it's going to get me the paycheck. And I think that's where I tend to self-sabotage.
I think we all do that daily. Or doing the fun activities that, creating there's a time and a place for those, but what I found is when I am trying to do or choosing to do that instead of phone time, then that's, that's wrong. Or if it's in a prime time to be calling really any time before 9 o'clock at night, then I should not be doing the making a poster or making host packets or whatever it is.
Right. And so that's good that you can recognize that you're avoiding it. So then when it's time to do it, then you will discipline yourself to say, no, I'm not going to start on that, even though you want to, because you've gotten in the habit of doing that now. And so your brain is actually giving you that boost of excitement of wasting that time, of fiddling, of looking at Facebook even. And you get some kind of a reward from that. And so you literally have to just start forcing yourself to stay focused and to do what you need to do. And even though it's going to feel a little bit resistive at first, once you get into action and you actually start doing it, then that resistance goes away. And we've all been there, right? You can have resistance. The moment you get into action, then that resistance just goes away. And then, of course, once we're in action, then that's when all the good things happen, when we take that jump across to the other side of where we want to go.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any techniques of what they can do and what they know is always a sure bet to empower you, to motivate you, to make you feel good?
I want to hear from Dondi and Patches, my team members that are on. I'm glad you're here.
I don't have an answer yet.
Well, Dondi is very disciplined in getting on first thing before she goes to work to send her host coaching messages and make her connections every morning.
Good.
Have you ever been distracted or pulled away or sabotaged from that though?
Not really. I know my husband likes to have a lot of attention, and so sometimes in the mornings when I'm trying to get my stuff done, he has things he wants to tell me or show me, and I do give him the attention he needs. But other than that, I am able to stay focused on what I'm doing. And I make it a point as soon as I come home from work to straight away go to the business and do what I need to do. Usually the kids let me do what I need to do. My husband isn't home from work and I have that opportunity.
Great.
Good. That's great. And so likely, Dondi, you have a talent and a power within that area of consistency and focus, that you just really have an ability to show up routinely and just get it done and get your work done before you play. But not all of us are knitted together that way. And so we all have different sabotaging things that can happen to us and keep us from, you know, our best self. And so sometimes what I see shows up, even if you're a consistent person, then maybe you just, I'm not saying this is you, but sometimes we can just settle into the routine of that minimum. And we don't get out of the comfort zone of doing more. And then eventually you just get kind of like, is this worth it? Because if you're not growing and expanding and better things aren't coming your way, you lose motivation because you don't have anything to look forward to and other things are trying to capture your attention. So just to put that out there.
Well, I would definitely agree with that. I know there are things I want to do differently with my business that I haven't had the time to, working 40 hours a week for the school district during the week. You know, I haven't done certain things like following up with guests after shows to see if they've gotten their products out, have they used them. I haven't done any of that yet, and that's definitely, I've been just 3 months in the business, so that's definitely on my, kind of in my mind of something I need to work on, but I haven't gotten there yet, and I think I kind of work on what I've got going on right now, the shows I have going on right now. I'm really good at focusing on those, but then I haven't done anything beyond that, and I need to definitely work on that.
Yeah, well, that's really good self-awareness. So now that you kind of have reminded yourself and you're aware of that, then you can do something about it because you're paying attention to it.
Right.
So, good. Any other comments about empowerment? Do you guys have any little hacks or tricks or anything that you use to get yourself pumped up or ready to do what you know you need to do to empower yourself? It could be something you do with other people. It could be something you do to prepare yourself mentally. It could be that self-care that when you're rested or rejuvenated, you are excited to get to work because you're not just coming from this empty place. Or, you know, something, maybe it's a reward of, you want to buy a new car, pay off a bill. Oh, there you go. Little rewards like that. I have a whole reward system thing that I work people through. So will you set up your own awards? And some people are very motivated by that. So just to get back to these last two things, because I don't really know how much time we had, is, here we go again. I'm just like helping you guys remember these by going over and over them. So the next thing after you really begin to try to add that empowerment, and the empowerment is that really important piece, you guys, because that is the thing that makes you feel good. Those are the things that really allow you to come from a place of abundance. And so really think about what are those things that you need in your life and business to make you feel empowered. And then this next part is something that you may not know or consider, but this is really, really important, is once you do those things, then if you times your unique brand, then that is when the prosperity really happens. That's when you kind of get over that hump and you really get to a place where you are in flow and you're happy and excited and business is really abundant and prospering. And I think that we've probably all been there at times. And then of course what happens is we get complacent, we lose self-awareness, sabotage begins to come in, we're not adding in empowerment, and then we stop doing what we were doing at that time to make ourselves very successful. But what this unique brand part is really having that awareness of what it is that you bring to your business that really works well. So like Dottie, right, was saying, that she just is very consistent, and she just does what she needs to do, and she makes sure that she shows up for her hostesses, and it sounds like she must make her calls. And so she's just kind of this routine machine, and she's just going through it and doing it. That is part of her unique brand, because she's so good at doing the routine thing. And I know that when I was in business, I was incredible at the relationships in the business and inspiring people to take action. And so I was able to inspire people to take more action than I was even taking myself. And it wasn't that I was being inauthentic. It was just that I was using my superpower. And I had a business where 3/4 of all of my money, which was really great money, came in from my team, and only 1/4 of it came from me. Whereas I had a leader under me, and like 90% of her money came in from all of her personal business and only 10% from her team, because she didn't have the same superpower as me with building relationships. And so we really need to know and understand what it is that we bring with our abilities and power to our business. And we need to really optimize that. And so what happens a lot, and it happened even for me, is that we try to be something that we're not, because we look at other people, and whether it's we're being advised by mentors or upline, or we're looking beside us and we're seeing other people have success, and we're like, well, I really want to move forward and they're doing that, so I'm going to try this on and I'm going to try it. But what ends up happening is, if we're not really being self-aware of who we are and what our unique situation is and what we bring, then we try to do something that isn't even within our strengths. And so we begin to do it. And when you're not working within your strengths, when you work within even a weakness, it's exhausting. And it takes 10 times the energy to do something that you're not good at. And we already have other things in our business that we have to take care of, because, like I said, we wear all those hats. And so we have to be really aware of where we're putting our energy. And so I want you to really think about, what is it about your business that makes you really unique? Where are people complimenting you in your business? What is it that you love to do, you never hesitate to do, that you could do effortlessly without stopping, that you bring to your business? What is that? And how can you use those things to optimize your sales? How could you apply that into your business? And that's really going to be that key secret ingredient, that if you have that awareness about it, then you're really going to have a lot more success. And then we start it all over again, because you're constantly going to have to be managing this self-awareness, taking away the sabotage, making sure that you're filling up, and making sure that you're applying your power properly. And particularly in our businesses, we always want to run after the next newest idea and try something that somebody else is doing. And I'm not saying just fall into a routine and stick to it forever or anything, and not to try anything, but make sure that what you're doing is really suited to you. Because I was being mentored, and they kept telling me that my personal business was not strong enough, and that was not healthy. And they really wanted me to focus on my personal business. And all the things that they were having me do were very much like how they approached their business, and they were very different than me. And so what ended up happening is my business actually suffered, and it went from like doing fine to like really bad, because I wasn't applying myself and what I brought to the equation. So I don't know if that makes sense for you guys, but I hope that gives you a couple of ideas to think about in order for you to start looking at your businesses, your personal businesses, a little bit better, as well as you can look at things for your teammates and really help them to identify what it is that they bring to their business that they're really good at, that they can do more of. And then, of course, they have to be in action. There's certain things that we're going to have to do, but you're going to be more excited to do what you're good at rather than the things that you really are horrible at. So if they're really bad at so if they hate making phone calls, what are some other ways that they can get in front of people that they do feel comfortable with, that they can do? Maybe they're going to host a big power show at their house, and they're going to book out their calendar from that. And they love entertaining. They're going to put on this incredible show at their house. They're going to do it up big. And then everybody that comes is going to want to book because you're going to have all of these incentives and things. And that's what really works for them to give them a boost. And so when you're thinking about helping your girls, instead of just constantly saying, you know, you need to get on the phone, which we know is there's a lot of resistance there. What are they not resistant to? What are they willing to do that they're excited about, that they could get behind, that they'd actually get into action? And so that's just a different way to look at it that I've found really works, instead of constantly trying to do the same thing over and over and over that doesn't work. So, any questions?
Muted. I was saying that's a great idea. And I love, you know, I think a lot of people have found recently, like virtual, you know, some of the consultants on here are mainly virtual and prefer virtual and feel more at home virtually. And, you know, so if that's where you're more at home, then going live on Facebook may be a better way to get those shows booked than spending a lot of time on the phone. Or sending Facebook messages that are, this I still haven't done, the recording where you record and then send the recorded message through Facebook Messenger. But I think that can be a great way without having to
feels less physical.
There's something about dialing the phone, you know, for some people that it's just not fun.
Right. Totally. I agree. Because I used to not like them, but I was really good in person. So I would always book out of shows, and people always built rapport with me and trusted me. And I was always able to express to them why it was such a great idea and influence them in that way. And I was always really good at like Facebook Messenger and texting. And that just felt like I didn't have resistance to that. And so that's how I got most of my shows.
Somebody dropped the phone. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rebecca.
Good luck to you guys. You're welcome. I hope that if you can maybe think of some questions to have your teammates ask themselves, like, what are they thinking when they're resisting, you know, doing something in their business? What is kind of holding them back? Build that self-awareness around that. That can really go a long way, just facing it.
Awesome.
So,
well, I think maybe that will be since we recorded, I wanted to have like a word because I know there's people that I'm forgetting the name of it, but just a keyword that people that watch the recording can then tell their director or leader that they watched the recording and they heard the keyword. So what do you think about prosperity being our word? That'd be the word.
Sounds good to me.
You like it, Kristen?
Yeah.
So,
and also we have to remember that prosperity.
Participating, so
that's awesome.
We all want to prosper, right?
Absolutely, because prosperity is not just about money. It's also about how you feel accomplished and right. Good, and that happy feeling. So that's a really good word.
Awesome.
So thank you guys so much.
Yeah. Do you have anything else, Kristen?
No, I was just going to pop on and just thank you, Rebecca. That was amazing. I love to hear from you people. And even though, you know, it's things that I've heard before, just to hear it in a new way is so inspirational. Exactly. So I greatly appreciate you taking time to join us. And I hope that we can meet again with some other team events or things like that, because I do have a special gift. And I really did enjoy hearing from you. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, Amber and I today we're talking about putting a retreat together for you guys. So
awesome.
There might
so
be
good.
To come.
So I'm sure I'll be talking to Amber a little bit more about that tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah,
we have our director meeting tomorrow. So
yeah,
awesome.
Perfect. So anyway,
all right.
So
well, you guys have a fantastic.
So good. Well, thank you. And let me just kind of do closing words to our other participants on here. Anyway, as I just wanted to say thank you again to Rebecca. I encourage everybody to join us again next Tuesday night. It will be the same link that we used tonight for Zoom. It'll be at 6:30 Mountain Time, just like we did. So for the next 5 Tuesdays. And then now that we have the belief system in place, or maybe this week, that can be your homework, is to, you know, kind of look at yourself and, you know, where you are in your business and become more self-aware and maybe what's sabotaging you. So kind of implement what we learned from Rebecca. so that we can move forward now with the skills that it's going to take to build your business. So that's kind of where the next 5 weeks will be skill talking. So with that, does anybody have any closing questions or comments?
Thank you, Rebecca.
You're welcome.
Good. Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing everybody next week. And in the meantime, if anybody has questions, concerns, or wants to work through this, I know your director would be more than willing to speak with you and talk with you and work with you and make some action plans. So have a good week, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks again, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.